All right, we're gonna go over the standards for events 3 and 4 for both RX and scaled. So during that 5-minute break, you'll have your box. We'll have the rowing machine set up just outside the box, and the GHD for the RX division will be just outside the box. Everything else will be set up inside the box. You guys will have a little bit of freedom as far as like how you want things set up inside your box. And obviously, as you finish a movement, if you want to put stuff just outside so you have more room to work, that's perfectly fine as well. So once again, we'll go through kind of the flow of the workout, and then we'll go over the actual standards of the movements themselves. So once again, it's 2 separate events going on at the same time, just to make that clear. So they'll both start at the same time, but the row is a completely separate score from the chipper. So there's no dogging it on the row unless you don't care about that workout, but it's worth just as much as the chipper is. So once again, we're gonna have all 3 people start just outside the box, just to keep it simple, the same as the rest of the workouts. But at 3, 2, 1, go, one person of your choosing is gonna hop on the rower. We will have the rower set up, guys, 3,000 meters, girls, 2,500 to count down. So technically your time will not start on the row until you pull on it. So it won't quite match up to the clock on there. So we'll actually take your time, which it'll stop at exactly 3,000 and 2,500 meters on here. You will be responsible for having your deadlift bar set to the correct weight before we start the workout. I'll spin them off real quick, but RX men is gonna be 275, so 245s and a 25. Girls is 185, so 45, 25, and 5. Scaled men, 205, so a 45 and a 35. Scaled women, I believe, is 135, so a 45 and a 5. So obviously we'll have those weights set up for you guys to do it, but you'll be responsible for making sure that weight is on the bar before we get started with it. So one person will be rowing while the other 2 are working through the chipper. So the chipper is very similar between the RX and the scaled. Starts off 120 wall balls straight into 100 sit-ups for the scaled, 100 GHD sit-ups for the RX, 80 kettlebell swings, 60 box jumps for the RX, 60 box over for the scaled, and then 40 deadlifts. That is where it finishes off for the scaled. RX has 40 deadlifts, and then you finish off with 10 rope climbs. So the ropes are obviously all set at that side of the gym. Your squares are gonna be set up around the gym. So as soon as you guys finish the 40 deadlifts, you'll run over, and then it's basically first come, first serve on the ropes. You gotta pick one rope, you have to stay on that rope the whole time. But basically, obviously the ropes are all set up over there, so we'll just kind of head over there as soon as you're done with that. The only other thing with the flow of the workout, I think to explain, is that as far as changing out, you can change out who's on the rower whenever you want to, with the other 2 people working on the chipper, 1 person working at a time. As far as changing, when you're on the same movement, basically you can just trade out without having to tag the person. So if you're coordinated enough, you can shoot one wall ball, the other person can swap in and grab it. Kettlebell swings, you can set it down, you can hand it to the person. The only thing that's gonna be a little bit different is if you're having someone go from wall balls and then another person go on sit-ups, you do have to run over and tag that person before they start on the movement, just so we don't have a false start from movement to movement. So this person can be sitting here waiting on the sit-ups, but they have to wait for that person to come over and tag them. So if you're going straight from the wall balls to the sit-ups, obviously there's no tag needed there. You're just gonna be the one moving from one movement to the next. It is an 18-minute time cap, so if you can make it through all of it, it'll be for time. If you don't, you'll just get a score as far as how many reps through the workout you get as well. The row, from watching people, it's gonna take anywhere from probably 10 to 12 minutes for most teams. As soon as you finish that row, that 3rd person can come over and start helping you. So now you're breaking up the work between 3 people, still just 1 person working at a time, but you're cycling between 3 people to finish off that work throughout that chipper. So I think that goes over all of the flow questions. If I think of anything I forgot, I'll throw it in there, but we'll go over the standards of the movements next. So. All right, we'll go over wall balls, and I'll just kind of try and talk through this. as Jamie does movements. The targets are all set at 10 feet, so there will not be a wall. We will have the target, so the ball's gonna come from the floor, but up in that rack position, squatting, crease of the hip below the top of the knee, and then that ball has to hit the target, so the flat side of the target. If it hits the underside of the target, it's gonna be a no rep. If it misses the target, it's gonna be a no rep. Like I said, if you're coordinated enough to pass it off the target, you're welcome to do that to your partner, but you cannot catch it off the bounce. So if you drop the ball and it bounces off the floor, then you do have to reset on the floor. You wanna show that one time, Jamie? So she cannot catch it, so she's gotta start over again. So basically, if she catches it, she's gotta go down and tap the ground with it again, so basically. All right, wall balls. Next up is going to be the sit-ups for scaled. We're not gonna use ab mats, but we will have dumbbells to anchor your feet. So she's gonna touch both of her hands to the floor behind her head to make things simple, and then she has to touch her toes in front of the dumbbells. So don't touch the dumbbells, touch your toes in front of the dumbbells. So touch the floor, touch the dumbbells, all right? For the RX division, we are gonna have GHDs. Obviously you can have the GHD set up to whatever you want it beforehand. They are kind of tricky to move, so if you want any help moving those, we're more than happy to move them. Just make sure you got it cranked down so it doesn't slide around on you. So if you want to take the time to adjust it during the workout, you're welcome to do that as well. But obviously have it set it up where you want it. The girls, we're gonna have a blue mat for them to go back and touch. So hands are gonna touch the foot pad at the top of the movement. She's gonna touch the mat at the bottom of the movement, and then she's got to come up and touch the foot pad back at the top of the movement again. So that's the full movement. For the men, we will have the mat basically broken down in half instead of folded up completely. So it'll be about 2 inches off the ground. So, but a little bit shorter than what most people are used to in here. Next up, kettlebell swings. So bottom of the movement, both of her wrists are gonna be making contact with her thighs at the bottom, and then she just has to get to full extension at the top of the movement. So knees locked out, hips open up all the way, elbows fully extended, that dumbbell pointing straight up overhead. So obviously the biggest thing are making sure that we get those knees locked out at the top and those elbows fully extended, making sure that kettlebell is not drooping forward at the top. So same full extension position that we've gone over and over again. Next up is box. So box jumps for RX, so just standard box jumps, jump off 2 feet, land on 2 feet, make sure we get to full extension at the top of the movement. Just make sure we're not falling off the box as we get to that full extension. So you can either jump down or step down. So good. Scaled is gonna be burpee box overs. So she has to be facing the box, so not parallel to the box, facing the box at 90 degrees. Get down however you want to, chest and thighs on the floor, pick herself up, and then really just get over the box however she wants to. So other than putting your hands on the box, pretty much anything's gonna be allowed. So you can jump on top of the box, step down, jump on the box, jump down, jump all the way over the box if you want to, step on the box with just 1 foot. If you're tall enough, step all the way over the box. I mean, literally get over the box. Both feet do not have to touch the top of the box. So if you can pivot like that, you're more than welcome to. I think that covers everything on that. Next up, deadlifts. Like I said, this is where the scale division is going to finish off, so 40 heavy deadlifts. So hands do have to be outside your legs, so if you like sumo, you're not allowed to on this, hands outside your legs, and then she just has to get to full extension at the top of the movement, knees locked out, hips open up all the way, shoulders pulled back behind the bar. I'd say the biggest thing to look for on this is making sure that we're getting that bar back in line with our body. When people go fast, they like to hang it out in front just like that. So make sure we get to full extension at the top of that movement, and then no intentional bouncing at the bottom. The plates we're gonna be using do not bounce very well, so it won't work very well if you try to, but basically you just cannot bend your arms to accelerate that bar into the floor. So, and obviously you can drop the bar and reset from the top if you wanna do that as well. So that's up to you. And just like we did with the first workout, if you want to have people on opposite sides of the bar trading off as much as you want to, you have the freedom to do that as well. So, and then last up for the RX division, rope climbs. We'll kind of walk down here and just explain that real quick. So like I said, we'll come down here. You'll pick one rope. They're all the same rope. We're gonna climb to 14 feet. So our building is at a slight slant. So I have a black mark spray painted out at the top the rope that we have to make contact with or touch just above, that Jamie's touching right there. It is, and it looks like it's in a slightly different spot on each rope just because the ceiling's at a slant, but I promise they're all at 14 feet. So, and then as far as getting down, that is up to your choice. Just be safe. Okay, so your time will finish when you touch that mark at 14 feet on your 10th rope climb. So I think that goes over everything. If I think of anything else, I'll throw it in there. All right, thanks guys.